Hello everyone, thanks for dropping by. That's Alice Eve on the screen, and the only thing I've ever seen her in is an American TV interview where she demonstrates she can do an authentic American accent. Alice is more or less about exactly the same height as me, so if she wasn't wearing heels like that, then barefoot we'd be able to look each other straight in the eye. Now the obvious question is, if I was as hypothetically wealthy as I said on other videos, i.e. as wealthy as Elon Musk and Bezos or Larry Ellison all put together, would I go with her? Yes. In fact, Alice there has the distinctive position of sharing position with Linda Blair, in that I would be seriously interested in wifing her up. Now, would Alice want to go with me? The question is no, because as you know, women like Mr. 666, and Alice there is no exception, because looking around I found her dating history. As you can see, it's a site called Ranker, and this was done on April 12th last year. Now Alice has been married before, and that's her former husband, Alex. As you can see, she's exactly the same height as me, so if you go across, she comes to about there, and you look another 6 inches. So Alex there is knocking on the door of 6 foot tall. Now that's one box ticked. No doubt he goes to the gym, so he's got a 6-pack. That's 2 boxes ticked. And Alex works as an investment banker for Goldman Sachs. In fact, if you scroll down on this, best known for his successful career in the finance industry, having worked for prestigious institutions such as Goldman Sachs. Now, I had a look on the website, and Goldman Sachs investment bankers have a base salary of £40,000 a year. But as you know, in that industry, they have bonuses according to how well they've done throughout the year, and the more experience they get, the bigger the bonus. Now, a basic Goldman Sachs investment banker is on £150,000 per year, so Alex there, getting more experience, he would probably be getting on for 200,000, maybe £250,000 a year, which is a 6-figure salary, and that's the 3rd box ticked. So if Alex there was just a plumber, it's doubtful that Alice would ever even look at him. But even though they did go to prestigious Westminster School in London, because Alice, as you know, is British, and she comes down from London, like Emily last video. Now, Westminster School is a posh one, so Alice there is used to mixing with the upper class crowds, and she talks with a cut-class accent, no doubt, not with a northern accent like I do. So even though I would be seriously super wealthy like Musk and Bezos put together, it's doubtful whether she'd even look at me. But even if she did, would she be looking at me or looking at the kind of wealth that I've got? But that's her former husband. They're no longer married. They divorced in 2017. I don't know why, but at a guess I would say that Alex there wanted children to start a family, and Alice there wanted to have a acting career, just like Brad and Jennifer Aniston. Brad wanted children, but Jennifer wanted to be a movie star. So the two can't meet. Jennifer, she had moderate success, but she'll never be on the same level of pull-in power as what Brad Pitt is. Now that's her former husband. Before that, she was dating Adam. As you can see, she's 5'6" at the most, same as height as me. I'm 5 foot 5 3/4 inches, so we're more or less the same height. If you go across, you can see Adam's there, he's about 6'1", 6'2". I don't know how tall Ben Adams is. And then she's also gone on with Rufus. As you can see, 5'6". Rufus there is about 5'10", maybe 5'11". As you can see, Alice likes Mr. 666. 6 foot tall or thereabouts, 6-figure salary because she's used to mixing with wealthy men, and no doubt if they go to the gym they got a six-pack or they keep themselves in a trim shape. Now that's Alice's dating history. Looking around, I found this. As you can see, it's The Guardian, a left-wingish rag. And this was done on September the 27th this year, or when was that? Last Saturday. Yeah, last Saturday. This was, whoops, silly boy, what you doing that for? As you can see, it says, men seem to make life for women worse. Single US women share the woes of dating in 2025. And no matter what women say they look for in a relationship, it is completely ignored by men. Here's why some women feel there's little hope in the current dating pool of men if they're still in the market for one. And then we have that news article. By 2030, which is, we'll see, back in the 4 years from now, 45% of prime working age women in America, defined as between 25 and 44, when they're not prime, it's 18 to 25 is their prime, will be single according to Census Bureau historical data by Morgan Stanley. And hundreds of these women from across America shared with The Guardian why they are single, how they felt about it, and what they would be looking for in a future partner if they are still in the market for one. And one, I hated being single after my last relationship broke down. Why did it break down? Says Sarah, 43, post-wall. A sales representative from California. I miss having someone to cook for, to share things with, but now my motto is, my alone feels so good, I'll only have you if your presence is sweeter than my solitude. Well, that's a load of copium. And it says, many of the responses are surprisingly similar. The most frequent listed qualities for women said they are looking for in a partner are kindness and emotional intelligence, mental and physical health, shared values, ambition and being hardworking, financial stability, muscularity, I thought that was toxic, and maturity, and a willingness to commit an equal monogamous relationship, as well as in many cases having a family. Well, obviously that's not what Alice there wanted. And one of the phrases respondents used the most was that they are looking for a partner capable of adding to or enhancing their life. In other words, me. As in someone who is entirely self-sufficient and capable of adding romance, children, or a unique intellectual connection to their lives. In other words, me. A large number of women complain about past suitors who have been lacking effort or unable to keep up. Or it could be she turned out to be a unagreeable bitch and a Nagosaurus. And then we get a load of examples. A lot of women seem to actively make life for women worse and better. Babette, she's 32, a beautician in New York City, echoed hundreds of other respondents across ages and socio-economic backgrounds. I would love to have a partner, but it seems like men are super low effort, she said. Maybe women are super low effort, and they just seen what she's like. Load of red flags because she's post-wall at 32. not responding on dating apps, not effectively communicating, not wanting to plan dates. A lot of men seem to actively make life for women worse than better. No matter what women say they look for in a relationship, it is completely ignored by men. Maybe she's displaying too many red flags. Does she have tattoos? Does she have any piercings in her face beside her ears? Does she have a shitty attitude? Men can pick these things up, but women don't understand that. There's another lady, Keely, 43, post-war, from Georgia, joined a substantial number of respondents who felt the social media narratives have made dating toxic and pitted men against women. I wish I could have met my person. Notice, they always say person before the stupid gender wars. Well, they started it. Social media and red pill rhetoric, that's a poke at MGTOW. That has ruined people's view of dating and marriage, she says. What about the women's point of view, i.e. accountability? It says, scores of women said that nobody available they had encountered met what they considered basic requirements, i.e. the shopping list. They're still being picky. And she says, I'm looking for a man who has goals, ambition, is intelligent, trustworthy, a provider, supportive, considerate, kind, assertive, masculine, honest, faithful, intentional, has healthy self-esteem and a sense of humour. Love goes out to and likes fitness. The basic qualities are hard to find these days. I wonder why. Now, what does she bring to the table? Although many women said they have found being single lonely, they also typically said that they would not consider anyone who does not tick these or similar boxes, i.e. they've still got a shopping list. Another lady, Katie 37, that's her, post-war. She's from Wisconsin. Said she felt unable to look for a new partner since her last breakup in 2021. Why did it break up? Was she a Nagasaurus? Was she wanting to commit? Did he want a family, but she wanted a career? A partner should have a robust social life, a focus on holistic health, wherever that is, compassionate and forthright communication skills and functional independence. In other words, he's got to be a simp that can be an emotional tampon and functional independence. I'm happy to compromise on things. The bar is extremely low, but yet it's rarely cleared. And then we go. More ladies. Laura, in her 40s, post-war, from San Francisco. She'd been single for the better part of a decade since her divorce, despite having used many dating apps and having attended been dozens of single events. But we all know about single events, all women, and only a tiny handful of men. Most of them are simps. There's an imbalance between education levels in America. Many women don't want to date someone who's more educated and makes more money than them. There's also the Peter Pan syndrome. A lot of men here don't seem to want to grow up and take responsibilities of adulthood or a committed partnership. We've all seen this same thing on the TikTok videos. The women haven't changed no matter what the situation is. And then another one, Katie Wallace, 48, post-war, from Portland, whatever state that is in. I'm a self-employed high earner. I worked in a memoir, own rental property, and I've struggled with finding someone who is like me, in other words, Mr. 666, creative and high earning, i.e. the 1%. I don't drink or smoke and don't want a partner who does either. And then, furthermore, another lady. Some respondents reported feeling dishonest by the world of dating. They've actually given up actively looking for a partner, despite still wanting one. Amongst them is Rihanna, 41, a doctor from Washington State. That is her. She's a black lady, no doubt she wants a high-earning black man, but high-earning black men can have a pick of any attractive younger black women. She says, I find most men of my age have a lot of baggage. What about the baggage women carry, and not actively looking for a process? Their traumas, it feels like taking on a partner would be like taking another job, someone to care for physically and emotionally, when men can't seem to offer the same to me in return. Well, in that case, why is some dates sound like a job interview? Because the first question a woman usually asks, what do you do for a living? Which means she's assessing how much you earn. She felt devastated about being single most of the time, and felt like dozens of other women that she was being punished for her professional and emotional progress. And another lady, Christina, 32, post-war, mental health therapist from Chicago. She's withdrawn from actively dating and then been dumped by someone she did not want to commit. And then another lady, Crystal Sharp, that is her, 39, post-war, self-employed art teacher, wedding photographer. Well, with the wedding industry going into decline, she won't get much work on that. And she's from the state of Oregon. Was among many women who said drinking, drug use and other addictions among men, especially to porn, were the major factor in why they could not find a worthy partner. And she's tried internet dating. After my divorce, why did she get divorced? I only met men who were emotionally immature, wanted someone to take care of them, or had major addiction to drugs, alcohol, gambling, video gaming and porn. That must be the kind of guy she's attracted to. She had most guys we're just looking for a woman to sleep with, not grow with. Well, she would go for Chads. And another lady, where is it? Many correspondence in cases if any depends. She's 31, post-war, a homeowner, decent income, and one older child. Single mom. No guy wants a single mom. The Luria from Connecticut. And she would love to meet someone who's hard-working, honest and loyal. She's very comfortable being alone. And then Randy, that's her. She's a government policy analyst in Chicago. She stopped dating entirely. And on and on and on. And various respondents made clear they had no intentions to couple up. I'm single by choice, and dating nowadays is a waste of time, says Valerie Gregorio, 27 years old, approaching the wall from Maryland, wherever that is in America. And she said, I'm not looking for anyone. I value my freedom and independence so much. I live with my family. She's still at home, because especially it's so expensive. I want to save as much money as possible, especially since I'm not making six figures currently. You notice a six-figure salary. I'm not ready to accept being single for the rest of my life. You won't be single, you'll have a cat for company. But as you can see, all these women, what were they doing in their prime years, in the 20s, when they had the full deck of cards on their side? Alice is similar. She's good looking, beautiful, but one day that looks will be gone. She's been married to Alex. They were probably very happy together, but they had a clash of goals. She wanted to be a movie star, which she has to a certain degree. He maybe wanted a family. Another guy to going with all show business people. But these women, her post-wall, 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 they're all complaining, but what were they doing in their 20s? As it says, 2030's coming, 4 years from now. And we're going to see a lot more of things like this. So I'll keep an eye out to see if I can find any more. But it looks like the storm is just starting to pick up a bit of pace. And these women, they're not famous or rich. They're just ordinary women. But they had their options when they're in their 20s. And it looks like they're paying the price now for riding a cock carousel and not settling with a decent man. Alice may learn to regret it. She could end up being alone herself. We'll just have to wait and see. But for now, I think I'm on the 20-minute now, maybe a bit beyond. So, you know the routine, people. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe, etc. It's completely up to you. So until next week, that'll be it for me. Bye-bye.